and good morning. Welcome to Korea Today, live from Seoul.
Contact established. Korea's first science satellite with infrared radar capabilities is now ready to collect data. It can detect changes in temperatures underground to monitor volcanic and seismic activities.
Japan says it will not exercise collective self-defense without consent from Korea. Details coming up in the headlines.
And more than a dozen special economic zones have been announced for North Korea. We'll give you the details on In Print. Machinery mimicking living creatures. I'll take you behind the scene and a closer look at some of Korea's kinetic art.
It's not just about a pretty face anymore. K-pop stars are building even more credibility as artists. We meet the top stars who have it all: the talent, the genius, style, pizzazz, and the looks. Experience the taste of the rural farming community in Korea with the perfect foods for the winter, and leap into the serene landscapes of Yangpyeong. We take you to Sumi Village on Friday, November 22nd, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Friday morning to you all. You're watching Korea Today.
Thank you for joining us. And after an initial dispatch of 46 members to Tacloban last week, the Defense Ministry has announced this time that they will be sending a troop of 500 composed of doctors, engineers, and relief troops to the typhoon-battered regions of the Philippines.
That's right. It's the second largest dispatch of troops since the Iraq War. And the Korean government highlighted the fact that the Philippines is a special country to South Korea. It's the first Southeast Asian country to establish diplomatic ties with Seoul. It's the only Southeast Asian country to fight for South Korea during the Korean War.
This is the 17th group of troops that Korea will be deploying from Korea since becoming a member of the United Nations back in 1991. So this is a cry for help, and also
you know what they say, a friend in need is a friend indeed.
That's right.
All right, we'll begin Korea Today on this Friday morning with a check of the day's headlines.
And now in today's headlines, yesterday we reported that prosecutors confirmed the nation's spy agency posted an additional 1 million politically slanted tweets before last year's presidential election. And now we have the exact number of the posts, which stands at over 1.2 million. The prosecution said Thursday that around 26,000 original posts by National Intelligence Service agents were retweeted using a computer program called TwitterBot that produces hundreds of automated posts through bogus Twitter accounts. The NIS, however, refused to acknowledge the investigation results, saying the prosecution did not unveil the details of the case, such as how many of the NIS agents were involved. Prosecutors has been probing the nation's spy agency over allegations that it meddled in last year's presidential and general elections as a means to sway public opinion in favor of the ruling Saenuri party. Korea's first science satellite with an infrared radar system successfully entered orbit and established contact with the ground station. The satellite, which was launched on Thursday, will help the country forecast any geological events such as earthquakes or volcanic eruptions by detecting changes in temperatures on the Earth's surface as well as underground. Korea Aerospace Research Institute said that the successful deployment of the satellite was confirmed about 6 hours after blastoff when it established its first radio communication with the Korean ground station in Daejeon, roughly 150 kilometers south of Seoul. The satellite was sent into space using a projectile-turned space launch vehicle from Russia. The science satellite is designed to orbit Earth once every 97 minutes at an altitude of 600 kilometers for the next 2 years. Japan has taken steps to clarify that it would not exercise its right to so-called collective self-defense on the Korean peninsula without prior agreement from Korea. Korea's foreign ministry revealed on Thursday that a high-ranking security official from the Japanese government had been in touch to spell out Tokyo's intentions under the plan. The ministry said Korea cannot tolerate Japan exercising its collective self-defense without approval from Seoul, as it affects its national interests and security on the Korean peninsula. Japan has been moving to secure a greater constitutional right to collective self-defense, which would allow its military to engage in war beyond its borders and embark on overseas military operations. Under the current constitution written after Japan's defeat in World War II, the role of the country's military forces has been strictly limited to homeland defense. Samsung will have to dig into its deep pockets as a U.S. jury has ruled within the last couple of hours that the Korean firm should pay Apple $290 million for copying iPhone and iPad features in its devices. The verdict covered 5 patents and 13 products and comes after a previous jury last year found Samsung had infringed on a series of Apple patents and needed to pay more than $1 billion in damages. The judge ordered this trial because the previous jury miscalculated the amount Samsung owed. Including the damages remaining from last year's trial, Samsung now owes Apple about $890 million. Samsung is expected to appeal the latest verdict.
And happy Friday, everyone. At the top of the show, you heard about the additional aid Korea will be sending to the Philippines. Now, China also recently announced it will send its state-of-the-art Navy hospital ship. This after the Asian powerhouse was criticized for not doing enough to help. 조선일보 has that ship on its front page. Now, on the left are U.S. soldiers a week ago transporting rescue supplies that arrived in Tacloban Airport, and on the right is China's so-called Peace Ark leaving its Navy base in Joseon, China yesterday. Now, other media are reporting that the Goodwill mission will bring 300 hospital beds and more than 100 doctors and nurses to the disaster-stricken regions to offer on board as well as field care. Meanwhile, the headline below that image reads, "After run to rescue the Philippines, U.S., China, Japan's power struggle." The lead adding that the three countries are engaged in a competition to provide the Philippines with aid for a good cause, yes, but also to win the hearts and minds of its citizens in an extension of their soft power. The subheadlines summarize the intentions. The U.S. is sending 9,000 troops to help with possibly a plan to expand its military presence, as the two countries were in the process of negotiating a military accord prior to Typhoon Haiyan hitting the Philippines. Japan, according to the paper, has dispatched its self-defense forces to Leyte Island, a first since the Second World War, in an effort to water down its invading army image, while China is playing catch-up to the U.S. and Japan's efforts. All right, we'll go ahead and scoot on over to 동아일보. The Korean military appears to be set on its next generation fighter jet in the context of its procurement project. It will announce its decision later today, and 동아일보 previews this announcement with the headline, "All 60 jets to be F-35As, high cost likely to mean 40 jets for now." Now, citing an unnamed military source, the paper reports that the decision will come during a meeting of the Joint Chiefs of Staff today. And because the cost of the U.S.-made stealth jets are hefty, estimated to be between $150 million and $235 million apiece, it is highly likely that the needed 60 jets will be purchased in phases, the first being purchased between 2018 and year 2021, with the remaining 20 to be bought after the year 2023. All right, let's go ahead and scoot on over to Gyeongyang Shinmun now. Its headline brings us to the ongoing probe surrounding the allegations that the nation's spy agency interfered in the last presidential election. The headline reads, again, outside pressure on investigation, controversy over interference by Justice Ministry and Prosecutor High Command. Now, that outside pressure came in two forms, the article reports. The Justice Ministry and the leaders of the Seoul Central District Prosecution prosecutor's office postponed approval on additional arraignment requests and only moved on them when the investigation team threatened to resign en masse. It also says the same powers helped delay the summons investigation of National Intelligence Service employees. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the front page image over on 중앙일보. The title reads, Archipelago Japan gives birth to youngest isle. What you're seeing there is Japan's newest island formed out of a volcanic eruption. It sits in water some 1,000 kilometers south of Tokyo, reportedly measuring some 200 meters in diameter. Nearby is Nishinoshima Island, which also came to be from a volcanic eruption some 40 years ago. We'll go ahead and wrap things up with a look at the front page of Made Business newspapers headline. We'll take a look at this one here. It reads, North Korea to develop 14 special economic zones, including Sinŭiju, the border city between North Korea and China. Now, taking a look at the inserted map there, you can see Sinŭiju right there noted in red. Now, 13 other smaller zones will be scattered around the state as well as formally announced by KCNA. The paper reports the SEZs will be open to foreign investment. The smaller zones reportedly aiming to secure 100 to 200 million US dollars in investment. And it says that each zone will have its own specialty, including tourism, agriculture, exports, and industry. Well, those are the news headlines for this morning on In Print. Next up are your closing numbers from Thursday's Market Action.
Today is Soseol, one of the 24 seasonal divisions. It's the day we're supposed to see the season's first snow. But since we got that out of the way, I wonder what the weather will look like today.
Well, we didn't see any snow today so far, but I did see a layer of frost covering my car when I left the house this morning.
It's Soseol today, so.
There you go. Soseol. Let's find out what today's weather as well as the weekend forecast has in store. We'll go to Dami. Good morning, Dami.
Good morning to you, Dami.
Happy Friday morning, everyone! Today, I'm reporting live from Songpagu, Seoul. And yes, according to the lunar calendar, today is Soseol, which is the day when the first snow is supposed to fall, and it does mark the change of season. But we already did receive our first snow here in Seoul on Monday, and the weather has been getting quite cold these days, so make sure to bundle yourselves up in order to prevent from catching a cold. Now, we will be seeing clear conditions today. However, according to the National Institute of Environmental Research, it looks like the air itself is going to be quite mucky, as later in the evening, fine dust levels will rise quite a bit. So you may want to carry around a mask with you today. And also on Sunday, it looks like we will be receiving some nationwide showers, so you may want to keep that in mind for making plans for the weekend. Now, temperatures this morning are at negative 0.2 degrees Celsius. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather around Korea. Seoul's highs are at 10 degrees, Daejeon at 11, Daegu and Jeju at 13, while Busan will be the warmest at 14 degrees. I'll be back in the latter half to show you around one of Korea's largest markets.
All right, thank you very much, Tommy. We'll connect with her later on to see what activities she has in store. Now, we reported on the Museum of Modern and Contemporary Arts earlier, which opened its doors earlier in November. But it seems that Yim Yoonhee went over there, but Kinetic art pieces, out of all the art pieces on display, has caught her attention. Yim Yoonhee joins us. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So first of all, let me explain kinetic art. Kinetic art is any art that moves or appears to be moving. Now, this can include paintings, but today I want to talk about actual moving artwork. So as Young mentioned, the MMCA did recently open, and they are showcasing Kinetic artist Choe U-ram's piece in one of the larger common areas. Now, walking by, you can definitely notice its presence. It's hard to miss. It's a little bit creepy, but it was very interesting to look at.
We've seen it, right? Like,
We've seen a glimpse of it, right?
Just a glimpse of that when we did the piece on the museum.
Right.
But you do have this look at the artist himself, right?
Yes, I was able to attend his workshop and see just what makes his work tick. So let's take a look. Looks can be deceiving. This 1-ton stainless steel, aluminum, and plastic display may appear to be just a machine. But pay close attention and you'll notice it has an eerie yet tranquilizing behavior to it, giving it an almost lifelike appearance. Its name is Opertus Lunula Umbra, translated to hidden shadow of the moon. And like the name suggests, the slow rhythmic movements in combination with the crescent shape gives the impression of a more ominous side of the moon.
Something that kind of wants to eat me or threaten me, so even while walking under the piece, I was looking up a little bit, worried. Oh, that's my impression.
This is just one of many complicated works of famed Korean artist Choe U-ram. He's been recognized worldwide for his grotesquely beautiful and often mesmerizing mechanical concoctions. The sheen reflection of cold metals against the soft illuminating lights combines with smooth rhythmic motions. It's like a glimpse into the future. Choe is a kinetic sculpture artist. He creatively brings movement and mobility to something that would otherwise be inanimate.
Choe U-ram is very well known in Korea's modern and contemporary art. This piece is symbolic of him and represents his style, so we decided to show it in this exhibition.
Known for his contributions to the kinetic art culture, the artist invited us to take a look at the place where each of his creations are born. The giant machines are dwarfed in the high-ceiling workshop, custom built to hold his enormous works. And around every corner, I was greeted by mountains of supplies and tools. It wasn't hard to see that this was a mechanic's heaven, with spare parts littered across the counters and past projects tucked in between his tools.
There's a human desire that I like to build into my machines. So I give each of my pieces a little bit of that humanity, that longing to be human. You don't have to go to a far-off, remote place to find that basic instinct. Sometimes you can find it wherever you are. I make my work as if it's already been a part of our lives.
This intimidating piece illustrates Choe's ability to bring fluidity and grace to something unexpected. Modeled after a Tibetan mandala, the intricate designs captivate you, inviting you in to its seemingly endless pattern of movement.
Because my pieces are all moving, we have to test them for quite a while and make sure all the pieces move smoothly. There are many differences between the initial design and the production, and there are many things we don't expect, so the process takes a long time.
And the result? A beautiful display, like this blooming floral arrangement. Sensors trigger the flowers to reveal its softly lit metallic center. But to produce something like this requires months, sometimes even years of preparation and assembly.
Building the actual sculpture is only about 50% of the work. The other 50% is done on the computer.
All the programming on the computer is put onto a central processing unit board, or in the case of Choe's works, many central processing unit boards. Doing so allows Choe to coordinate every last movement of his artwork. But the computer isn't used just for programming. It's an essential part of trying the mobility of his pieces. Initial testing and retesting can be done virtually, without ever lifting a screwdriver. And when everything is done on the screen, it's printed, double-checked, and used to build the final project.
So this piece needs to move. So here is the motor and the gears. Here's the control CPU board.
In the end, you get a captivating display of soft lights and even softer movements. It's almost as if ocean waves were lapping against the chandelier. revealing Choe's sea coral inspiration for the piece. Other works vary in size and shape, but all still hold true to a style of combining inorganic hard materials with gentle, lifelike movements, resulting in what ticks like a machine, but moves like something very much alive.
I initially used metal because it's appropriate for machines. But recently I've wanted to expand my range of expression, so I've been studying glass. I used a little bit of glass for my recent project, and I want to continue implementing it into my work. I want to become more familiar with different materials, so I can always be ready to make something. New materials always interest me, so I'll keep looking at exhibitions and such for something to give me new ideas.
Now, we just saw the visual impact of his work, but you could also, if you go there in person, you can hear the audio impact of it as well, and that is plays a significant role in the experience. So you're looking at something so fluid, so beautiful, but you can hear the gears kind of clicking and churning, so it's a kind of a confusing experience. He calls it grotesquely beautiful, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it.
Grotesquely beautiful.
It's beautiful, yet it's creepy.
Different. It's a different beauty, you have to say.
Middles look like little bugs or
Right. It can be a little creepy, but his works are enormous, it seems like. So what does he do with these pieces once the exhibitions are done and over with? Can you buy these pieces?
So some he stores, but yes, you can purchase his pieces. He has sold a few for tens of thousands of US dollars. And what he does with the money after is he wants to use that money to buy future materials, more expensive materials, to keep making future projects. And so you can see he's really passionate about the work he does.
So what's his ultimate goal in doing these kind of artworks?
You know, I was talking to him, and he mentioned that he went to Las Vegas recently, and watched the Cirque du Soleil show, and was blown away by the production, as many people are. But he actually wants to create his own similar program featuring his own works of art. So you can imagine it's going to be like a futuristic underwater kind of sea experience.
All right.
I can visually see it.
Yeah.
Just imagine it, his artworks just being in a
And then if he wants to really be like the Cirque du Soleil, then he can actually travel around the world with his pieces, right? And displaying them in different areas. All right, well, thank you very much for this interesting, yet creepy and beautiful artwork.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you, Yoonhee. All right, still ahead on Korea today. There was a time when Korean pop groups were thought of just as pretty faces, but not anymore. It's not just about singing and dancing with the perfect performance. More K-pop idols are reaching into the field of songwriting and producing, creating music to suit their tastes. We'll meet some of these talents.
As the weather gets colder, a lot of people spend the bulk of their time trying to bundle themselves up and trying to cover themselves up. But one of the parts that are always exposed is of course, the hands, and you know, people spend a lot of time beautifying these hands.
I've done
Speaking
some.
of which, right? Show us your hands.
I hope the camera like sort of zooms up and see my nails.
You got it done just for this story.
Right.
Story.
I should have put a gem or something to, to show the trend of the recent nail art.
That's right. This season, it's all about going flashy and bold with different patterns. So let's take a look at this report and find out more.
With just a little investment, it can bring out impressive results. They can be more beautiful than any other jewel in the world. With endless possibilities in style and color, nail art offers a different taste in beauty. Let's jump into their many charms. On November 9th, for 2 days, the Seoul International Nail Fair 2013 took place in the Gangnam district. And the work showcased here did not fall short from artwork, with their different designs and colorful styles appealing to the many visitors.
The Seoul International Nail Fair has been running for 15 years since 1998, and we hold various contests and seminars to promote the industry of nail art.
A lot of people were able to show off the latest products in the market and experience nail art trends. Not only that, the various events for people to experience nail art firsthand were also well received.
I feel a release of stress, and I feel it almost as a healing effect.
The heated fun at the nail art fair was enough to counter the cold weather. Nail art has now become an integral part of fashion, and it's no surprise that it comes in various styles and changing trends.
Because the cold weather has set in early, burgundy, black, and toned-down pastel colors are popular.
One of the leading trends this season is burgundy. The classic color adds a captivating, sexy charm to it, making it a popular color each year. But this season, various details have been added, making it fancier. Not only that, the leading pattern of this season, tartan and also small attached beads, create a richer and stronger look. Vivid colors combined with the metallic ones are also drawing attention from fashion people. And we visit the site where singer Navi, who's known for her rich and emotionally charged voice, is getting her nails transformed. Navi is said to enjoy colors and flashy nail art.
I'm going to use tartan checks, which have been the most popular this fall, and add gold glitter points to them.
Since I have to perform on stage, I like art nail that's flashier, so I'm happy with the results today.
Those who created this boom in nail art are none other than celebrities. As fashion icons embraced nail art, it has now become the means to complete your look. And it's not just the female artists that are also engaged in this trend. Recently, G-Dragon, Chang Geun-seok, FT Island's Lee Hong-gi and many other male stars have also taken on bold nail art. Especially FT Island's vocalist Lee Hong-gi is known for being the first men's nail art celebrity in the country and is said to have spent a near $50,000 on his nail art. But it's not an overstatement to say that nail art comes with a hefty price. And because of this, some people are choosing to self-style their nails.
These days, there are a lot of blogs on doing your own nail art, and there are many tools that you can easily buy.
And with this, more products that allow these self-styling nail artists to easily create new looks with individuality, using their own nails as a canvas, are out on the market.
During the winter season, we recommend products with high moisturizing content to make up for skin that gets really dry.
They can sometimes be more eye-catching than the average accessory. Nail art continues to evolve in design and texture and are pushing their roots down in the fashion industry.
큰 폭으로 움직이는 일교차 분주한 밤의 뒤편에서도 우린 어렵고 무엇도 잘 향기만 남아서 나를 괴롭히지 써내려간 한 장의 편지를 이제야 읽어봤어 이제야 읽어봤어
G-Dragon, Kangta, and Yong Jun-hyung. They're not only idols, but they come from idol backgrounds as well. And they are the top 3 royalty earners as idols. Now, it's tough to be an idol these days, especially with all the musicality that you need. And Denny Hong joins us to talk more about this. Good morning.
Good morning. And today we are going to be talking about somewhat of the evolution of the K-pop stars and how they are transitioning from not just singers and dancers, but also trying to see how they can create more of an extended career for themselves by becoming more on the producer as well as singer-songwriter avenue. So I think it's actually a really good trend to finally catch on here in the country. This has been around a lot in more Western music scenes, but I'm glad that it's beginning to show more of a stronger presence here in Korea. So let's take a look, and of course, we'll come back and talk more about the singer-songwriter in Korea.
G-Dragon, Beast Yong Jun-hyung, CN Blues Jung Yong-ha, and JYJ's Kim Jae-ju. They're all leading K-pop stars with fans from all over. They may have distinct music styles, but they have one thing in common. It's that they are outstanding musicians who prove wrong that all idol groups are born as pre-packaged products by entertainment companies. Recently, as these talented stars move into the creative field of song and lyric writing, they are evolving into independent artists, creating a new trend in the industry. Let's take a look at the creative wave of this multifaceted talent. One of the first trends we saw were singers with ripped bodies. That has now become the norm to some extent. The trend largely began with 2PM, referred to as Beast dolls for their acrobatic dance moves. What followed was the acting K-pop idol stars. They may have started out on stage, but those like Miss A's Suji, Big Bang's Top, and M-Black's Ijun have received great feedback for their acting, with some of them even taking on the film industry. Now seems to be the start of the singer-songwriter phase in the K-pop scene. We are seeing more creative energy, with many musicians adding on at least 1 or 2 songs in their album that has been self-composed, written, and produced.
For singers who want to set themselves apart, one of the best ways is to show your creativity as a singer-songwriter. That's why stars are getting more hands-on when it comes to song composing and lyric writing.
Big Bang's G-Dragon has been gaining a lot of attention as a songwriter, according to the Korea Music Copyright Association. Not only has he written some 120 songs as of 2012, he has also arranged songs, receiving much praise for his potential as a K-pop producer. And G-Dragon's rival is Beast's Yoonhee. He's written many of the group's hit songs such as Fiction, Shock, Breath, Special, and he also composed, wrote, and produced songs for his teammate Yang Yo-seop's first solo album, The First College, receiving acknowledgement for his creative talent. And you cannot leave out CN Blue, where all members compose and write lyrics for their songs. When debuting, they may have had their title song written by a popular songwriter, but in their mini-album, Re-Blue, the group reaffirmed its identity as a band and wrote all of the songs themselves.
뭐 타이틀곡 말고는 좀 다 자작곡을 했었는데 이번에 타이틀곡까지 자작곡을 하게 돼서 정말 기뻤고.
JYJ's Kim Jae-jung also wrote the group's hit song Get Out and In Heaven, and also put out 3 songs in his pre-packaged solo album. One of them being the dance song Only Love, with other ballad and R&B songs, raising his potential as a solo musician. And with this trend, we went to meet a rising idol group, whose members have written their own songs, lyrics, and produced their own album. The 13-member group includes vocalists, rappers, dancers, producers, and from before their debut, have been dubbed a dream team of talent.
멤버들 각자 개성들도 너무 뚜렷하고 또 음악적 색깔도 강하고 그리고 음악적으로 욕심들도 강해서 이게 제가 혼자서는 차마 생각하지 못했을 만한 그런 아이디어들도 툭툭 튀어나오고 또 영감도 많이 주는 것 같습니다.
좋은 음악, 좋은 가사로 여러분들께 다가갈 테니까 더 많이 기대해 주시고 많이 응원해 주세요.
And one of the reasons self-writing and producing has become easier is thanks to the advancements in digital technology. Computers have allowed musicians to create tunes without knowing all the ins and outs of music theory.
We just saw a number of idol stars taking part in the process of actually writing songs. So is this kind of a new trend among them to stay competitive?
Well, you'd think that if you go with the trends that have been already around, as we already mentioned in the clip, we had, of course, the physicality has to be there for the market to actually have people to watch them too. So you have the singers, dancers, actors, the triple threat. But of course, if you want to add that extra level, then you have to have that singer-songwriter element in there too. And that is becoming more of a trend now, mainly because there is that competitive edge of how many K-pop groups do we have coming out, weekly, monthly, right? And how many of those actually stay? So because of this constant overflow and change out of new artists coming out, they need to have something that is, of course, a little bit different and separates them from the rest. And so having people that write their own songs is definitely one of those things that they can have as part of their
and it shouldn't
repertoire.
Just be a trend. The songwriting is no piece of cake, and you really got to love music. And so I hope these stars are not just jumping on the bandwagon just because they want to be famous.
Well, that is a very good point, because if they're forced to write a song, because I think any songwriter would say, oh, it just comes with inspiration, like when the time is right. But if you're like locked in a room trying to write a song, it probably doesn't come as easily. So if they are able to do so, definitely should encourage that, take a little bit of a risk, and maybe try them on smaller shows before putting them onto their final albums. But just writing a song for the sake of telling your fans that you are the songwriters might not be the best idea. But if you have the talent, that should be encouraged, I think, within the music industry for people to take more ownership in their music.
Right, and the audience will know it, right?
Yeah.
And once they hear it, whether the person has talent or not. Well, thank you, Danny, for that story.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
All right, let's check back in with Tommy, who's standing by at the Karak market in Songpagu.
All right, I love these markets. We'll see what she has in store for us. Tommy, over to you.
I'm back reporting live from Songpagu, Seoul, where you can find Korea's largest agricultural and marine product wholesale market. It's none other than the Karak market. Now, with the cold winter season coming up in about these days, many people here in Korea are getting ready to make kimchi. And this process is what we call kimjang. And what's the most important ingredient when it comes to making kimchi? Well, it's cabbages. Now, this morning, what I see with my very own eyes are trucks, a lot of people, and cabbages, and more cabbages. Now, this morning, there are many retailers here to get their hands on some fresh and low-priced cabbages. Not only retailers, but regular customers, also many restaurant workers as well. Now, first of all, when it comes to making kimchi, like I said, the taste can actually change quite drastically depending on the cabbage itself. So when you choose the cabbage, you want to make sure that it's about 1.5 span size. You want to make sure that's not too large. And when you hold it, you want to make sure it's not too light, because that means that it's slightly hollow inside, which means it's not 100% ripe. So hopefully the next time you go grocery shopping, it'll help out, with picking out your cabbages. Now, just talking a little bit more about the Karak market, it is huge. I can literally get lost in this place without a map. And there are about 130,000 people that come here, visit here per day. And the Karak market has the largest transaction quantity at 7,500 tons per day. So for those of you that are getting ready to make your kimchi for the kimjang season, why not come here to the Karak market and get your hands on some fresh and low-priced cabbages. I'm Idami, Korea Today.
And still ahead, with clear streams, scenic mountains, and its calm beauty, Yangpyeong's Sumi Village is the perfect place to enjoy some great dishes while getting some hands-on experience. We'll take you to Yangpyeong's gem to show you its many charms. Stay tuned.
And TGI Friday, everyone, as we kick things off with the ongoing rumors of Samsung Lions closer Oh Seung-hwan signing a deal with the Hanshin Tigers of the NPB. Now, it was reported by one Korean broadcast station yesterday that the deal was finalized, but with no confirmation from the others. But now more reports are surfacing that the deal is near, and it'll be a 2-year deal worth 900 million yen, or roughly $8.9 million. Now 200 million yen will go to the Samsung Lines for the transaction fee, which comes out to just under $2 million. If the deal is confirmed, the 700 million yen, or roughly $6.9 million contract will be the biggest any Korean has received from the MPB, as Oh Sung-hwan prepares to go from becoming a lion to a tiger. And moving on to the LPGA, the season's almost done with the last event of the season, the CME Group title holders, taking place this weekend. But at the same time, it's a start of a whole new chapter for 16-year-old Lydia Ko. With their petition to turn pro despite her age, Lydia Ko makes her professional debut at the CME Group title holders, despite the fact that she hasn't turned 18 just yet. However, the Korean-born New Zealander, who currently ranked number 5 in the world, was granted the LPGA Tour membership, as she will now be able to receive the prize money from now on. Meanwhile, after the first round of her professional debut, she did struggle a bit, but still shot a 1-under on the day. And now moving on to some Thursday night's KBL action. We had 2 games that took place last night as Jeonju KCC Aegis beat the Ulsan Mobis Phoebus 88-81 thanks to Tyler Wilkerson's 32 points and 10 rebounds, with rookie Kim Min-gu adding 23 points and 9 assists. So with that said, let's take a look at the Seoul Samsung Thunders take on the Changwon LG Sakers. Going into the game here, first quarter of the game, a rather tight game here with Samsung taking a slim 24-23 lead going into the second quarter. Second quarter, Samsung outscores LG 17-14 with Jasper Johnson putting up 14 points in the first half as Samsung takes a 41-37 lead at the half. Second half of the game, Samsung continues to run away with the game, with LG trying to bounce back in the fourth quarter, but with Lee Dong-jun, aka Daniel Sandrin, putting up 8 points in the fourth, the Samsung Thunders hang on for their 6th straight win, 73-63. And now finishing things off in the V-League, another 5-set match over on the women's side as Alicia Vasileva helped Hunguk Insurance Life Pink Spiders beat the Hyundai Hill State 3-2. Meanwhile, an epic match over on the men's side as well as KEPCO Vicstorm took on the Korean Air Jumbos. That Korean Air struggling from the start here as KEPCO takes the advantage early on as they take the first set 25-22 and the second set as well 25-21. KEPCO looking to end this early, but Korean Air barely hangs on to take the third set 26-24 to force a fourth set. KEPCO meanwhile struggle in the fourth set as Korean Air dominate for a 25-19 set win, and we're going to the fifth set. KEPCO's Chung Kwang-in putting up 30 attack points on the night, but Korean Air's Michael Sanchez answers back with 34 points as the Jumbos rally back to take the fifth set 15-13 and a 3-2 victory. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great weekend, everyone, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
이브는 아침에 한껏 여유 부릴 때 유난히 안색이 좋아 멀리 봐도 다 잘 어울리고 다 예뻐 보일 때 좋아하는 노래 들으며 걸어갈 때 시간 맞춰 버스를 탈 때 유난히 사람이 많은 출근길 딱 내 앞에서 자리 났을 때 예상대로 일이 술술 풀려갈 때 이제부터 모든 내 멋대로 맘먹을 때 아주 맛있는 걸 먹었을 때 세상에 나
Rice meets water in this sumimal that we're going to take you to today in Yangpyeong. It's the place where you can experience what it's like to live in a farming community. And our Matthew Chung was there. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, all around. So Sumimar in Yangpyeong, I counted. I've been there 5 times in the past year between this show and me going out there, just personally on my own. 5 times in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah, what is it? It's gotten to the point where I'm almost on a first name basis with everyone. But the reason why I can do that though is because one of the great parts about it is that it really does sort of embrace all that the environment has to offer. So everything changes according to the season. So, let's take a look right now and see what they have in store for this winter season.
Today we're in Gyeonggi-do in Yangpyeong-gun, and they say here in Yangpyeong-gun the water is clear and the air is cleaner, and they're right. And for good reason too, because as a city, Yangpyeong-gun has taken pains to maintain the natural beauty and the environment of this, of all of this around it. Makes me excited for what's in store for the rest of the day. Another thing that's unique to Yangpyeong is this rail bike. It's a great way to take in the area because round trip it's 4.6 kilometers, so you really get to take in everything. But let's take a closer look and see all that Yangpyeong has to offer. So this is Sumimar, and it means the village of water and rice. Su meaning water, mi meaning rice, and mar is a village. And it makes sense because this is a farm first and foremost, and it's eco-friendly. It puts the environment first. But they also have what's known as cheom and chukje, which literally translates to things like festivals and getting a hands-on experience with the rural life. Right now it's winter, so you have certain wintertime activities, and so let's see what those are. Here on the property here at Sumimar, they have chestnut trees that are over 150 years old. So you can come here, grab those chestnuts from these ancient trees, and eat them roasting over an open fire in one of the most beautiful places imaginable. Life just doesn't get any better than this. Oh my God, look how perfect that is. It's a thing of beauty. It's almost a shame to eat. You know why this is so good? It's because it takes everything that's great about this season. Today I've invited some special guests from the EY University Exchange Program, and they're here in Korea to learn Korean. And what better way to learn about Korean culture than through its food? There's a lot of them too. Better go join them. First up on today's itinerary for the students, kimjang, kimchi making. And I gotta tell you, the sounds of all the slicing, the smells of the ingredients, all the laughter, feels like being with family. And you know what? I think I'm gonna join my new family. Let's go.
여기에 있는 재료는 저희 마을에서 집집마다 다 심은 걸 다 모아서 갖다는 거예요. 배추가 지금 엄청 노랗고 맛있게 생겼죠?
Be careful your hands. You never know.
Despite it being the first time for most of these students, surprisingly adept at making kimchi.
It's a madhouse. It's chaotic. It's crazy. It smells like kimchi. It really is just like being at home. Be stuck in a room full of crazy people making kimchi. All right, so when making kimchi, you have to taste as you go along. So who's gonna have a taste? Yep. All right, let's go for it. Oh, you got that? How is it? It's good? Spicy, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's really nice. I never done it before. It's nice to learn something new and probably we'll do it again.
So one of the cool things about Sumimar is that after you make something, you get to eat it. So along with the kimchi that they've just made, they're serving soup, which is the traditional accompaniment after you make kimchi during kimjang.
I think it pairs with fresh kimchi really well. Yeah. I'm kind of tired of samgyeopsal, so this is better.
decided to take a little break from the hard work. Just take a little breezy raft ride down the river. So nice that you can do this here. You know, one thing that's really cool about Sumimar is that it's part of the Rural 20 project. It's a fantastic program. So being part of that Rural 20 project, it just goes to show how much there is to do here at Sumimar. You know what's really cool? I heard the very distinct sound of duck making in there. It's this pounding, smacking sound because you have to take this big mallet and pound the heck out of the chapsar, the glutinous rice, and that makes it into Yim Yoonhee. And it's kind of crazy how many things there are to do here at Sumimar. So I'm going to go and join them because you know what? I want to smack some duck too. And when it's covered in 콩가루, which is a type of bean powder, it takes on this toasted, roasted flavor that's completely unbeatable. And as far as I'm concerned, it's something completely unique to Korea.
And where do you suppose we're off to next?
Okay, so here at Sumimar, a tractor is not just a tractor, it's also a form of public transportation. And it's also an amusement park ride. It's bumpy, that's for sure, but I can safely say that I have never had a tractor ride like this before. Come on, let's go. All right, I'm not 100% certain, but I've heard rumors of steam buns, so if there's even a hint of jimpang, I'm there. Koreans have this love affair with jimpang. So here at Sumimar, you can actually get your hands on some dough and make some yourself, and then have them to eat afterwards.
Yeah, I always want to bring something from Korea back home. So, and like my family's like, they love different types of food. So I always hope to bring something from each place I visit back home to America so they can try it out.
The jimpang are ready and the students are ready to pick them up, and like I said, they're all clamoring for them, and it's because it smells delicious in here. And that's the great thing about something like jimpang, is that you have this warm thing of beauty on a cold winter's day, and that's something you can take home with you.
We can use a computer, we can watch the video on the internet, but here we only can enjoy the view, more relaxed.
It was a really cool day like this, but I don't know, it's just different. This was really way more fun.
So the students have gone home and we said goodbye to Sumimar. And Yangpyeong, here it is in a nutshell. I know people who live here, but they go to work and they commute every day to Seoul. It's just that close. Yet, it looks like this. Behind me, this is a Hanok Maal, a Hanok village, Hanok being the traditional type of Korean housing. It's all new. It's not a historical landmark, but it blends in so seamlessly with these mountains and all of this. And that's why I love Yangpyeong. And that's what keeps me coming back every time.
I love the way you ate your hoopbang. I love the way you ate it. Well, Sumimar has the best of what Yangpyeong has to offer, it seems like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and
Back to earth.
No, I kind of got lost. I was thinking about Sumimar again.
You got hypnotized by Minjung's beauty. Just like
I mean, how could you not? But that's the great thing about Sumimar, is that it's such a showcase for the entire region. It's really what it is, a showcase, because they have a little bit of everything on their property in terms of, like, they have a little bit of water, they have a little bit of farmland, they've got a little, they've got a couple of greenhouses there. So really, it's the entire rural experience in under one property.
You know, Kimjang is a unique experience that many people have. Kimjang is unique to Korea as well. Are there any other activities that are available at the village?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I was there this past summer for their Catfish Festival, which was a lot of fun.
That was there.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
the same place. And it was, if you go back and look at the tapes, Eagle Eye viewers can maybe take a look, but it looks so different, depending on the season. And we just finished up the rice and the chestnut festivals in the fall, and the spring, I'm really looking forward to the strawberry festival.
So overall, what was the best attraction of this Sumi village? You have to think about it. It's a hard decision to make.
It's not that I have to think. I know exactly what it is. It's hard for me to say because it's a little corny, but I told you I've been there about 5 times in the past year. So it really is, it comes down to the people there.
People.
They're a fantastic
That's not
bunch.
corny. Nothing corny about that.
I know, but I had a great time as always, and I can't wait to go back.
All right, Sumi
Sounds like
Village.
you had a great time there. Thank you, Matthew, for this story.
Always a pleasure.
All right, thank you very much. And now for you, young lady. It's been 2 weeks on the program, right, Gina?
Right. Yes. It's my last day here, so.
And you did a great job.
I have to say goodbye to you guys.
All right. But on the first day of this 2-week stint, we gave you an opportunity, a golden opportunity to close the show. You turned it down.
No, I was so embarrassed and timid.
I'm going to give you another opportunity to close the show for us today.
Okay, thank you for watching Korea Today. This wraps the Friday.
Okay, not so well. But nice try.
Bye, guys.
These openings and closings, they're not that
They're tough. All right, that's all from us this Friday morning.
All right, see you back here on Monday morning at 7 a.m. Goodbye.